shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let joy, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let joy, I let it shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let joy, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. Grace, I let grace, I let it shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let grace, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. Love, I let love, I let it shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. Oh, I let love, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. Joy, I let joy, I let it shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let joy, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let joy, I let it shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let joy, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. It's all there is.
Andy Anderson, it is so good to have you back. Joy lives in us. Now, were we going to do one or two opening songs? We didn't get that clear. We're done, right?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
How the Spirit moves, I'm ready to go.
More to come, more to come. Hello, everybody. I got to stop saying good morning and saying hello or good afternoon. So good to see you all, and welcome to our folks joining us online as well. I'm Kimberly Hawkins, Spiritual Director, Senior Minister here, and it's always my pleasure to say howdy. We are an inclusive, progressive spiritual community teaching spiritual tools to transform personal lives and help make a world that works for everyone. And we're blessed to be partnered with Medford Congregational UCC that has a very similar mission. This is going to be very exciting. We welcome each one of you, no matter where you happen to be on your own personal spiritual journey. We honor all paths to God. Many paths, one God. If you're here for the very first time, be sure to sign up for our e-newsletter if you'd like to keep abreast of what's going on. We're on hiatus right now for our classes, but soon we will be starting classes again. So with me, first a reminder, if you're here in the room with us, please, if you have a cell phone with you, please turn it off or to airplane mode. Some of us are energy sensitive, and so even just quieting it won't be enough. Thank you for that. In addition to our amazing musician, Andy Anderson, this morning, Wendy Wellborn is here. She is recently licensed as a practitioner, and thank you, Wendy. Can you dig it out? I actually have her official certificate. Some of you know that. Now I'm going to give it back to her. Practitioner of Religious Science, Wendy Wellborn. We're so, so proud of you, and yeah. Thank you, Wendy. Wendy will be doing our reading and invocation in just a moment. And for those of you who may not know, becoming a practitioner is quite the path. It's 2 years at least of prerequisite certified classes, 2 years of practitioner training, an exam, and then an oral panel of her peers and minister. And we have two. The other new practitioner in our community is at home holding high watch, Teresa Jenkins. So thank you, Teresa, for praying throughout the service. So I think that's it. It's time now to hand it back to Reverend Andy to prepare us for our invocation and reading.
God is all there is. It's love, peace, and love is all there is. It's all that I need. I wander through this land of love, wondering who I am. Then I remember when my mind is clear, God is. I open my eyes to see I'm whole, I'm perfect, complete. There's nothing I need to find. All I need is right where I am. So I let God's love surround me. I am wrapped in the arms of one, and I see nature's beauty all around me. I feel, I know I am. I know I'm one with the power. I'm one with the glory. It lives inside of me. I don't have to worry, never fear, my mind is clear. I know my faith is strong, I'm right where I belong. I know just who I am, and so I celebrate, oh, I celebrate, and know God is all there is. God is all there is. I know that God is all there is. God is all there is. I know that God is. I am. I know that God is. I am. God is all there is. God is all there is. I know that God is all there is. God is all there is.
I invite you in this moment to get comfortable in your chair. Close your eyes and take a deep centering breath, expanding that space that we call the heart space. Knowing that right now we are all exactly where we are supposed to be, together in this room, knowing that everything in this experience is God. There is only the God of perfect love and peace and harmony with us. We are all one. God created us from itself to know itself better. So as a divine expression of God, you are already perfect. We are already perfect. We are, we will be, and everything that happens to us is for our greater perfection, if that's even a comprehensible idea. And knowing that this is where I am supposed to be, I know that I am with you and we are all connected. And that as this connection grows, it ripples out from us. It reaches those who are in our virtual audience. It reaches those who aren't even aware that we're together and praying for them. We bless the service, that it reaches the highest and best for all the globe. I bless each one of us that we evolve and we get exactly what we need for our higher unfoldment. And I release this prayer knowing the law has already said yes with an immense heart of gratitude. And we affirm again together, and so it is. Oh, I shouldn't put that down. Hi, this is my very first reading as a practitioner, and my name is Wendy Wellborn. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I am not even nervous. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. Thank you. So because it's my first reading, I spent some time on it. All of you who've been with me in classes know I spend time. And everything was coming up kind of meh. And then I came across this one reading that made my heart race. And when I found the poem in this book, my heart raced more, and then I was up all night. And I reached the author, and the author said, yes, I could read it. So I would like to present to you a poem by our own Blaine Lindsay. And if you've known me in class, you know that when my heart fills up, it leaks out my eyes. So that's just how you're going to have to handle me. This is how I am. So the poem is called It Sinks in Deep. And when it sinks in deep, the fact that it's not a dream, quite real, happening now, and no, you can't go backwards. When it hits you, crashes into you, or did you crash into it? Just breathe. Face it and breathe. Be kind and breathe. Bring your best. Yes, you must go forward. Looking it in the eyes, showing up surprised but with integrity, breathing through the cries. Your shocked soul tries not to expose the cracks where rivers would simply love to destroy the dam and let it all out, flooding the city, flooding the reality, drowning out everything you never agreed to. You never agreed to. Everything you've been surviving. Breathe. You've been surviving. You are alive. What a wild, mysterious blessing. Through all of the accidents and beautiful choices, some that turned out to be mistakes, some U-turns where you didn't hit the brakes and some other breather never saw you coming and you crashed. No, there's no going back, only onwards, towards, forward. Breathe. And when it sinks in deep, it will reach your core, that diamond, that immortal, immutable, immaculate soul that you are. It will stir up your star, and you'll find a light that's bright enough to shine your way home. It will show you how you can do anything. This will not end you. It will, in fact, bend you to the breaking point where you realize, wow, your pure potential and powerful purpose. You are pure potential and powerful purpose. You are going to accept the challenge. You are going to heal from that damage and rise. Namaste.
Every day I'm so grateful, thankful. Oh, it's a new day on my horizon. See all that I am, all I can be. Oh, it's just a gratitude shining through me. Nature's gifts to me. Perfect place to be. I keep loving myself so I can see there's only beauty in you, beauty in me. Oh, let's all stand up together and let the whole world see. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. My life is so good. Precious With every breath I take, with every step I take, it takes me higher on my path of awakening. See through the eyes of love as only one of us. So let's be grateful for all that's been given us. No need to live in fear. All of life is here. So come on, let's love and let the love come shining in. Smiling faces, warm embraces. Oh, let's all stand up and let the whole world know I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. Every day I'm thankful. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. My life is so good, precious and good. Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. Every day I'm so grateful. Yeah. Oh, I'm so thankful. Oh, so thankful, so grateful, so thankful every moment of the day. Yes, I am.
Andy Anderson, I think I can speak for we are so grateful to have you back. Yes. And I am grateful for Wendy and for Teresa, our new practitioners, and what a perfect poem she read. You'll see why when I do the talk. And one more thing I'm grateful for, which I forgot to mention earlier. We have a brand new member of our spiritual family. Her name is Madison Rummel. She is the granddaughter of Jason Rummel, who's sitting back there, and the son of his son, Ben, and Christina. She was born 2 days ago, I think it was. She is adorable, and I can't wait to meet her. So we are grateful, and we're grateful everything went well. Bubba Jason, is that right? Is that the grandpa's name? Yeah, Bubba. Yeah. Yeah. My message this morning I've entitled Kiss the Wave. It comes from a quote by a Christian pastor from the 19th century called Charles Sturgeon. And what he said was, I have learned to kiss the wave that throws me against the rock of ages. Let's unpack that a little bit. The wave, so in this case, it's a metaphor for anything that comes our way that slams us, that knocks us off center, that maybe knocks us down. I've learned to kiss the wave, in other words, not only to accept it, but to love it, that throws me against the rock of ages. Rock of ages, I imagine for Charles Sturgeon, who was a Christian pastor, meant Jesus Christ, because that was his Savior. Rock of ages in general means that which has unfailing strength, that which gives us unfailing support. So for us in science of mind, that would be divine intelligence, spirit, God, love intelligence, whatever you want to call it. So he's learned to kiss the wave that throws him against the rock of ages. In other words, when we get slammed by something, we need to trust in divine help, divine guidance, divine good. I think that the wave is a great metaphor because waves, as you know, if you've spent any time at the ocean, they can come unexpectedly. When I first moved to Oregon, I was so excited to see the Oregon coast. I'd never seen it. I grew up on the East Coast and spent time in the summer either at the Jersey Shore or Nantucket or Cape Cod, but there's nothing like the Oregon coast in Northern California with those haystacks. But the first time I went, actually it was Wendy. I was going to say it's a friend, but it was Wendy who warned me to watch out for sneaker waves. I'd never heard the term sneaker wave. We don't talk about that on the East Coast, but those waves that can sneak up, be huge, and carry you out to sea. And it's a great metaphor because whether we like it or not, none of us escapes this life without waves of some sort hitting us, whether it's a health challenge, a financial challenge, losing a loved one, you name it. And waves, I think, are a great metaphor too, because sometimes they come when we least expect them. Sometimes they come one right after the other, before we can really catch our breath in between. Ever had that happen in your life? Yeah. The author of, we're actually doing a series, a 7-part series. So Kiss the Wave refers to habit number 2 in this series that I've called The Path to Less Stress and Greater Joy. We're using a book by Mark Batterson called Win the Day, 7 Daily Habits to Give You Less Stress and Accomplish More, but I'm focusing on the less stress. Batterson says, any obstacle you encounter is not the enemy. The obstacle is the way. Wow, that's an interesting thought, isn't it? So kissing the wave doesn't necessarily mean that we don't experience storms, because we're going to. It doesn't mean we don't get seasick, metaphorically, because we will. But we really can't move past the pain that we're feeling in a given situation that's challenging unless we own it, unless we feel it. Right? We can't deny it, pretend it didn't happen. That doesn't work. So Matt Kahn, interestingly enough, some of you know the spiritual teacher and author Matt Kahn. He wrote a whole book that I think could be said to address this idea of kiss the wave. The book is based on divine guidance that he received that is advice when a wave hits us. What do we do? And it's 4 words. Whatever arises, love that. It's the name of his book. Whatever arises, love that. So he tells us that the modern day spiritual journey is a transition from fearing it all to feeling it all. Fearing it all to feeling it all. So we're not called to fight or resist what's going on necessarily, although we know that prayer and changing our consciousness can shift and create miracles. We're not called to fight or resist. We're called to embrace a situation that may be challenging and know that the ever-changing circumstances in our lives are also opportunities to feel and therefore to heal. Batterson also says that things happen in life that we're not responsible for, responsible spelled the way you'd expect it to be. But he says, so we didn't necessarily consciously bring them in. We believe in science of mind, that our thoughts are creative, that our consciousness is creative. But let's face it, we're not the only ones on the planet. So everyone's consciousness is creative, and other people are not necessarily creating what we'd like to create, and I know that you know what I mean right now on this planet. But Batterson says, okay, so we're not necessarily responsible, but we are response-able, which is something that is very core in our teachings in Science of Mind, that we always have the freedom to choose how we respond, how we react. That's always a choice. We are response-able. And let's face it, when we know that and we are thrown against the rock of ages and take advantage of that, we can trust, we can pray, we can listen for guidance, and we can move through the challenging experience. We can get up and stand straight again after the wave hits. One of the most powerful examples, I think, of this idea of kissing the wave is the story of a man named Joseph Merrick. He was born in England in 1862, and he had a tremendous, severe series of physical deformities. His 10 fingers were no more than stubs. They were totally unusable. His head was the circumference of a man's waist. Mouth so misshapen that his speech was unintelligible pretty much to everyone. One arm was bigger than the other. His legs were so deformed he could barely stand. Now we're talking 19th century England. So where did he end up? In a freak show, in a circus, on display. People paid a few shillings to go in and be appalled and shriek. And can you imagine what that was like for this man? One day, a doctor named Dr. Stephen Treves walked in and saw Merrick, and he was appalled like everyone else. The sight, when you first see him, was shocking, but he also was overwhelmed with empathy and compassion. He tried to talk to Merrick, but he could barely understand him, so he gave him a business card. And shortly thereafter, Joseph Merrick was found by the police huddled in a dark corner of a train station, really acting like a hunted animal, and they found Dr. Treves' card on him. So they called Dr. Treves. Dr. Treves moved him to a London hospital where he spent the rest of his life. The first time an orderly came in with a tray of food, nobody warned her, and she saw Merrick, shrieked, dropped the tray, and ran from the room. Can you imagine, again, more hurt, more shock for him? But eventually, the staff got used to him, and Treves conducted an experiment one day. He asked a woman to go into Merrick's room to smile at him, wish him good morning, and shake his hand. And Treves documented the reaction of Merrick, which was not what Treves expected. Merrick bowed his head to his knees and began to sob uncontrollably. He said to Treves he had never, ever had a woman smile at him before, and no other time in his life had he had a woman smile and wish him good morning. Over time, Dr. Treves got to know this man, young man, by the way. It turns out he was quite bright. He was a voracious reader of scripture. Treves took him, smuggled him into boxes in the theater so he could hear opera and see plays, gave him books to read, took him out into nature, and Merrick loved listening to the songbirds and chasing after rabbits and collecting wildflowers. And he said to Treves, "I am happy every moment of the day. I am happy every moment of the day." I meant to bring my book up because I was going to read the eulogy. Merrick died when he was just 27 years old, and Dr. Treves did the eulogy. And what he said was, here is a man who never had an unkind word for anyone. Here was a man who was ennobled by his challenges, ennobled. Here was a man that I never once heard complain. Can you imagine? This was the man, as you may have guessed by now, that was dubbed the Elephant Man. He was featured in a movie. How in heck does somebody who has had this kind of challenge and hurt and trauma in his life say that he's happy every hour of the day and never complain? I believe Joseph Merrick not only flipped the script like we talked about last week, he changed his story from one of woe is me, I'm terrible, nobody loves me, to I can enjoy life. He also kissed the wave. He embraced what was going on, and he knew that he could still be present and enjoy life and be grateful, as Andy so beautifully sang about. He was grateful. Wow. Wayne Dyer said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So when we find ourselves in difficult situations, we tend to get so focused on getting out of them that we miss what we fail to get anything from them. We want out of them, but we could be getting something from them. Yes? So Kiss the Wave starts with a very powerful question that any of us can ask ourselves when we're hit by a wave. And it's this: what have you come to teach me? What have you come to teach me? And I know even in this room, I've counseled people who have had serious life-threatening illnesses. Cancer is frequently the illness, that have done just this. What have you come here to teach me? Spent time in prayer and contemplation and really took a look at what it is that could be the gift in this. What could they learn? How can they be empowered? And that is quite something. At my former spiritual community, Namaste Center for Spiritual Living in Long Beach, California, we had a practitioner emeritus named Joanne Bourgeois. She has passed now. But she taught all our practitioners and taught class. She was a master teacher. And she always used to say in our spiritual classes, don't waste the pain. Don't waste the experience. Use it. What have you come to teach me? So the first two habits that we've been talking about last week and this week, flip the script, kiss the wave, have to do with burying dead yesterdays, as Mark Batterson says, putting to rest the past, not by ignoring what happened, as I've said. We have to move through them, but to get through them so that we can move on in life. And it was really interesting. I was listening to, when I pick a talk title, typically stuff happens all week that becomes fodder for the talk. I was listening to a podcast with Tara Brach, one of my favorite Buddhist teachers. And she talked about something we all know, the gift of living in the present moment rather than somewhere else. She said, when we focus on the past, typically the P in past stands for pain. We're focused on the pain, our regrets, we're in a groove, we can't let go. When we focus on the future, the F in future stands for fear. Ever go through the what ifs? What if this happens? What if that happens? Right now, it's easy to get into what ifs. I mean, we don't know how this pandemic is going to come to an end. What if, what if? But she said when we focus on the present, the P in present stands for peace. Peace. Yeah. Now, the other part of Kiss the Wave, even though we need to embrace it, feel it, and heal it, whatever the it is that's hit us, we also need to be able at some point to say goodbye. Goodbye to the past. It's almost like we need to release scar tissue. Ever been hurt in a relationship or hurt because you got fired from a job or whatever it was? We develop emotional scars. So just as we do have physical scar tissue sometimes, I've been in physical therapy a couple times, to loosen up the scar tissue so I'd have a better range of motion, right, in the body part. I'm sure some of you have experienced that. The same thing is true emotionally. Sometimes we have to release the scar tissue so that we have a range of possibility in our lives, a range of emotional possibility that we can become free to love again or free to have faith in our life again, releasing the scar tissue. Now, this involves oftentimes forgiveness, right? That's how we release scar tissue. One of the best examples of this need to kiss the wave goodbye eventually is a story from Dickens. A long time ago, I taught 8th grade English in Marblehead, Massachusetts. And a required part of the curriculum for 8th graders, which was a challenge, was Dickens' book, Great Expectations. Anybody read that one? Not an easy read, Pip and Estella. Well, if you remember, there's a character in there named Miss Havisham, who was a jilted, wealthy spinster. Her love, Compeyson, never showed up on her wedding day, and she was devastated. And she got stuck in that moment of time. I mean, literally, the clocks in her house all read 8:40, and she left them there because that was when she learned that he wasn't showing up. Not only that, he wasn't showing up because he took off with her fortune. He didn't care for her at all. There was a wedding. Oh, she was still in her white wedding dress. That's all she wore. And on the table in the dining room was her wedding cake that was supposed to be part of the reception. And at this point, of course, there's spiders and beetles and icky things running around in it. And the house was in disarray. She was not able to move on. And there's actually a psychological effect that psychologists call the Miss Havisham effect, especially when people are hurt in love. It's so hurtful sometimes, and it's so hard to let go that we get stuck and we won't open our heart again. But if we're able to forgive, and if we're thrown against the rock of ages, remember, God is always loving. God always continues to love and support us and be there for us. So if we can learn to turn to Spirit and forgive, that divine intelligence helps us do that, by the way. Once we're willing and take that first step, we can heal and be open again, and that scar tissue can be released. Sometimes rituals help. I always thought it was kind of odd, having gone through a divorce, that we have this big deal when people get married. We have wonderful rituals and ceremonies and celebrations. But when people get divorced, typically, there is no ritual. Recently, a friend of mine broke up with somebody that she thought was going to be a long-term relationship, and it was mutually agreed upon. And they are in the process of doing what she is calling conscious uncoupling. And so to think about rituals, like what in your life might you need to bury Steve Jobs did an incredible thing. Back in 2002, when they were rolling out a new operating system, there was a convention in San Jose, California. And all the developers were there, and he brought up on the stage a coffin. They played a Bach minor and D minor fugue, like, a funeral dirge. And after a moment of silence, he said a eulogy for the OS 9 operating system and welcomed in the new Mac OS X. And what an effective thing to do. Maybe there are times in our lives when we could stage a funeral or do a ritual of some sort with friends and loved ones that might help us bury our dead yesterdays. There's one more example in Patterson's book, and I love this one. Coach, Ryan, I think his first name was Rex, Coach Rex Ryan, after the Monday Night Massacre in 2010, I think it was 2010. The Jets, his team, got just routed by the New England Patriots. It was like 45-3 loss. It was pretty embarrassing. He called the whole team together, and out near the practice field, he took one of the footballs that were used in that game, and he buried it, and he proceeded to stage a funeral so that they could let go of the embarrassment, the humiliation, put it to rest, release it, and move on. And 6 weeks later, the Jets beat the Pats in a playoff game soundly. Isn't that cool? So, yeah, sometimes a ritual helps to bury dead yesterdays. And so this week, I'd like us to take a look at what needs healing. What scar tissue do we need to loosen up and let go of? As I bring this talk to a close, I want to read something, again from Dickens. It's the opening lines to A Tale of Two Cities, and I always loved the way it begins. You probably remember this one. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of lights, it was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. We had everything before us, we had nothing before us. Isn't that the truth? That juxtaposition. And the gift when we have nothing before us, or at least it seems that way, is that we have a completely clean slate. We have infinite open possibilities for new growth, new life. So this week, I want to invite you, along with me, to kiss the wave, to turn our fear into faith. As we're knocked against that rock of ages, remember, God is always there. Always there. If we don't feel loved by our humans around us, we are always loved by that divine that lives right within. If we're willing to feel it, we can heal it. We may not be responsible for the wave that's crashed over us unexpectedly, but we are response-able. We are able to choose how we proceed. Release the scar tissue. Practice forgiveness. Do a ritual if we need to. And let's open to new possibilities. I'm going to close with a serenity prayer, because really the serenity prayer is about kissing the wave, is it not? Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Let's pray. I'm taking a big breath in, cleansing breath. Recognizing that each moment we have the ability, the freedom to choose, to respond. And if we're crashed, that wave has crashed us, there is a presence, a power of love that is everywhere, always waiting to respond to us. It is love, it is peace, it is freedom, it is wholeness, and so much more. So by whatever name we call it, God, Spirit, the Holy Spirit, Creator, Source, it is ever available, always responsive, always hears our prayers. We cannot be separate from that rock of ages, that source of unfailing strength. It lives right within each of us and surrounds each of us. It is part and parcel of who we are. And so this week I know there are waves crashing constantly around us. There's dissension in our society. There's illness. There's fear. If we can learn to heal it, to feel it, to trust, to turn to God, all is well, and we know that. We know that. Deep down within, as Wendy's beautiful poem talked about, deep down within. And so I bless each one in this room. I bless each one listening online. I bless all faith communities across the globe. I like to say, whether they're worshiping today in an ashram, a mosque, a church, a temple, in nature, or out on a yoga mat, all is one God, one love, one people. And we say a special prayer for all those affected by COVID, affected by the fires, those fighting COVID, those on the front lines of healthcare work, knowing that God is always there. If we turn to it, it turns to us. And so in gratitude for this community, for this teaching, for the book that we're using, for all the beautiful spiritual teachers, and for the wisdom that lives within each one here, because it does, I release this word knowing it's heard and it's answered, and we say together, and so it is. Amen.
I can feel the oneness of spirit when I'm connected to body and mind. See, there's a higher power and a presence that connect me to infinite mind. I am renewed. It feels so good when I let it come shining through. I just relax into the flow, just receive, and then I know I'm one with body and mind. Oh, body and mind. Ooh, my body and mind. There's only one connected to my body and my mind. Ooh. Whenever you forget just who you are and the things that bring you joy, just go back and reconnect with the thing that does it best. It's infinite mind. See, there's a joy, a peace, a feeling of release in body and mind. So just relax into the flow, just receive, and then you'll know you're one with body and mind. Oh, body and mind. Ooh, talking about my body and my mind. There's only one connected to my body and my mind. Oh, said my body. I said my body and mind. Oh, my body. I said my body and mind. Oh, there's only one connected, my body and mind. Oh, there's only one infinite mind connected to my body and my mind.
Hi, Andy Anderson. Is that a new one?
No, next time I will do some.
All right, because I haven't heard that one. Do you have your new CD with you yet? All right, next time. Bonnie and Andy, his wife, they're both ministers, will be here some week in September. I'm trying to think, is it the 3rd or 4th?
I think it's the 3rd.
Yeah, to do the talk and music, and that's a treat, so be sure to be here. It's time now in our service where we talk about sacred giving. I like to say it's a spiritual practice to be conscious of all the good we receive and then to make a decision to give back to the places where you're spiritually fed. So we will have our giving affirmation up for those online. For those of you in the room, we don't have our slides up yet. We will at some point. So maybe you could just repeat after me metaphorically. Take your gift if you're giving something today. And we'll say, from the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper. It is evidence of my faith and my belief. It does great work in the world. And it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And that is the truth, isn't it? When we give, we receive. So there are several ways to give. If you're in the room, we're not passing the basket right now, but there are baskets on the table as you leave. You can put a donation in there. Or you can go online. So if you're listening online, obviously there's two ways. You can either go to our website, www.cslroguevalley.org, and hit the donate button. Actually, there are three ways. On Facebook, you can use the donate button, or you can mail a check the old-fashioned way to CSL RV, P.O. Box 1452, Medford, Oregon 97504. There are several announcements for those in the room. You see the Christmas tree back there. It's Christmas in July. The Gateway Project is helping residents of Talent and Phoenix who are now able to move into temporary houses after the fire. But if you can imagine, if you lose everything like they did and you're starting a household up, you need to buy a lot of things. So you're encouraged to buy gift cards at either Fred Meyer or Target, any amount, bring them in, put them in an envelope, hang them on the tree. On September 5th, Reverend Laura Lee Kent from this community will be doing a dedication for those gifts. We're also supporting Medford Food Project, Medford Food Pantry. There's a box underneath the table. This month in particular, they have plenty of peanut butter, but with a lot of children home from school making their own lunches, they're short on jams and jellies. And I know some of you brought that in today, so thank you for those of you who contributed. That goes under that table. There's also recycling in the back there. Behind Connie Miner, you see bags. If you have returnable bottles or cans and you'd like to bring them in and leave them at the back of the room, every so often this community gives the proceeds to that, from that drive, to different programs that support young people, children, including Maslow Project. So that's an easy way to help support, help make a world that works for everybody in our very own community. All right, let's see. If you did not sign the contact list when you came in, please do so on your way out. Just your name and phone number. The only reason we would use that information is, Sue's holding it up back there at the table. The only reason we would use that is if somebody were diagnosed with COVID, we would let you know so you can get tested. We're always open to prayers. Wendy and I and all the practitioners and ministers in our community are delighted to pray for you. So if you have a prayer request, the prayer box, we've moved back here now so it isn't in the way of the sign up. So it's that flowered box there. There are forms to fill out. If you're listening online on our website, you can hit prayer requests and fill out a request. And I know those of you who put a prayer request in last week, rest assured we've been praying for you. I don't know that you received an email yet. We're kind of getting used to our system again, but please know that the whole team received your prayer requests and we've been praying all week for you. Let's see, is that it? Oh yeah, there's one more important thing. If you go on the website for this community, Medford Congregational United Church of Christ, you'll see their calendar is very full. We're kind of in hiatus now. We will be starting up classes in the fall and go gangbusters again, but we are welcome to attend anything they offer, meditations and so on. And next Sunday at 11:30 in the Amistad room, which is in the other building, their Justice and Peace Committee is meeting. I am so excited that they have a Justice and Peace Committee. They get together and discuss discuss what projects in the community they want to undertake. I will be there, Reverend Laura Lee will be there. Any of us are invited to attend. It'll be 11:30 to 1 next Sunday. It happens every third Sunday of the month. Wow, that's a mouthful. I think that's it. I'm going to turn it over to Andy one more time for our closing song, and then I'll bless us on the way out. Andy Anderson.
I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. Let's sing it again. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world, sure enough. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. And I shine, oh I shine, and I shine, oh I shine, shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. Last time, we are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world every day. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. And we shine, oh we shine, we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. We shine. We shine, we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine.
We do, you do. Thank you, Andy Anderson. Thank you, Wendy. Also, big thanks to our crew, without whom we would not have our broadcast. So, yeah, I'm going to name them: Bill Miner and Connie in the back of the room, Shannon Schnibbe and Jason at the table on the side, Tom Frederick on our sound. Thank you all so much. So I just want to say a blessing. You know, blessing is kind of a lost art in a way, but bless you. We used to say in our Christian church, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord shine his light upon you. So know that you're not alone as you kiss whatever waves may come crashing down this week. We are thrown against the rock of the ages, always there to support, to comfort, to guide us. Blessings, my friends. Namaste. Love your help with chairs on the racks.